Hello ARMY, welcome back to Jikook Diaries, the warm corner of the internet where we collect, relive, and cherish every sweet, heart-stopping, and sometimes mysterious moment between Jungkook and Jimin. Today, we're going to dive deep into one of those moments that makes your heart race, your cheeks warm, and your mind scream, "Did that really just happen?" This is the story of when Jungkook showed his courage right in front of Jimin and gave us a secret stare that the fandom will never forget. It all started during a live broadcast event, one of those precious times when all 7 members of BTS were on stage together. The venue was alive with color and sound light sticks glowing like thousands of tiny stars, armies screaming with joy, cameras flashing from every direction. The energy was electric, the kind that only happens when BTS and ARMY are in the same space. Jimin was standing a little off to the side that evening. His hair glowed under the stage lights, his smile as soft and warm as ever. He was chatting lightly with one of the members when the MC decided to spice things up with a playful question. The host leaned in with a grin. "So, who's the bravest among you when it comes to expressing your feelings in front of others?" The question was innocent enough, but ARMYs who know the group well understand that moments like this can lead to unexpected magic. There was a beat of silence. The members glanced at each other, a mix of amusement and curiosity on their faces. And then, as if drawn by some unseen force, everyone's gaze shifted toward Jungkook. Now, if you've followed BTS for a while, you know that Jungkook has always had this blend of confidence and shyness. He's incredibly talented and powerful on stage, but when it comes to personal expressions of emotion, he sometimes retreats into his quiet side. So, many fans expected him to laugh it off or gesture towards someone else. But this time, he didn't. Jungkook straightened his posture, his shoulders squared, his chin slightly lifted. And then, in front of the cameras, the members, and a roaring crowd, he turned his gaze directly toward Jimin. It wasn't a quick glance. It wasn't casual. It was a steady, unflinching look that seemed to pierce right through the noise of the venue. His eyes had that soft but intense glow, the kind that says more than words ever could. Jimin, mid-smile, seemed caught off guard. His lips parted slightly, his eyes widening just a fraction before a small, almost shy smile tugged at the corners of his mouth. His hand, which had been resting casually at his side, shifted ever so slightly as if he didn't know where to put it. To anyone else, it might have looked like nothing. But to ARMYs who've studied Jikook moments for years, this was monumental. The MC, oblivious to the undercurrent, laughed and teased, "Oh, is that a confession, Jungkook?" The audience erupted into cheers and laughter. Jungkook just smiled, still keeping that little spark in his eyes and still looking at Jimin for a second too long. That's when the fandom knew. This wasn't just about answering a question. This was Jungkook showing courage, stepping out of his shell to make a statement without saying a single word. And that secret stare? Oh, ARMY didn't miss it. Within hours, clips of the moment flooded Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Fans slowed it down frame by frame, capturing every micro-expression. The way Jungkook's gaze softened halfway through, the way his jaw tensed slightly as if holding back a smile, the way Jimin's eyes darted down for a split second before meeting his gaze again. The hashtag Jikook stare was trending in multiple countries by the end of the night. Some fans joked that you could feel the electricity between them through the screen. Others pointed out that this wasn't the first time Jungkook had shown this kind of bravery in front of Jimin, but it might have been one of the most obvious. It's moments like these that remind ARMY why Jikook has such a devoted following. Their connection isn't built on grand gestures or rehearsed interactions, it's in the subtle glances, the quiet smiles, the unspoken understanding that seems to pass between them like a private language. And the beauty is, this isn't something you can fake. The intensity in Jungkook's eyes that night, the way Jimin's expression softened, the shared silence between them, it felt real. It felt like we were witnessing something personal, something that wasn't necessarily meant to be seen, but happened anyway. As the event continued, they both went back to their usual playful selves, joking with the other members and interacting with fans. But for those who had seen that stare, the image was already burned into their memory. It became one of those treasured Jikook moments that ARMYs revisit again and again, not because it was loud or dramatic, but because it was honest. Jimin is known for his composure. He's charming, polite, and rarely lets himself get completely thrown off in public. But here, you could see the tiny crack in his calm exterior. His eyes softened, his smile shifted, and there was that slight fidget in his hands, a subtle physical cue that he was both surprised and flustered. These micro-reactions are gold for ARMY detectives who know how to read them. It's one thing to share these kinds of looks during private interactions or fansign events, but doing it in a large, heavily broadcasted setting is another level. The risk of sparking rumors. The weight of millions of eyes watching all of that makes Jungkook's courage stand out even more. In a more recent Weverse Live, Jungkook responded to a fan's question about the members by talking about how Jimin always makes him feel comfortable. While saying it, he looked directly at the camera with a certain softness that made ARMYs connect the dots back to moments like the one we're discussing today. When you put all these moments together, the pattern is clear. Jungkook's courage in front of Jimin isn't a one-time thing. It's something that's been building for years, a quiet but powerful thread in their story. For many ARMYs, the recent stare is the culmination of all those years of small, bold acts. It's a reminder that while both of them have grown as individuals and as artists, some things like the way they gravitate toward each other remain constant. The truth is, Jikook moments often blur the line between friendship and something deeper, and that's part of the magic. They keep things unspoken, letting ARMY interpret for themselves. But every so often, there's a moment like this where the silence is just as loud as words. As ARMYs, we may never know exactly what passed between them in that instant. But maybe we don't need to. Maybe it's enough to witness it, feel it, and treasure it as part of the beautiful, ongoing story of Jungkook and Jimin, a story told not in speeches, but in courage, glances, and the kind of connection that needs no translation. And maybe that's what makes it so powerful. Jungkook's courage that day wasn't about doing something flashy or public in a conventional way. It was about holding Jimin's gaze in front of thousands, knowing that people might talk, knowing that cameras were rolling, and still choosing to do it anyway. That kind of courage, well, it says more than 1,000 words ever could. And that's the magic of Jikook. Sometimes it's not in the loud moments, but in the quiet courage, the kind that can happen in just a stare. Maybe we'll never know exactly what went through Jungkook's mind when he looked at Jimin like that, but one thing's for sure, ARMY felt it. We saw it, and we'll remember it. So tell me, ARMY, did you catch that secret stare too? Do you think it was just playful? Or was Jungkook really sending a message to Jimin in front of all of us? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's talk about it together, because moments like these are what make Jikook Diaries so special. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss the next heart-fluttering story. Until next time, keep your eyes open, because you never know when the next Jikook moment will take our breath away.